Who goes first?
Hello, this is Brian Perry and Julie Perry, and we are here with a Fishbowl question and answer time where our lovely fans, if you will, ask us questions and we answer them. And we are hosted today by an undisclosed guest hostess who will be delivering us these questions. Guest hostess, what is our first question?
First question is, what is a homestead tax exemption?
Oh, goodness. No, we're getting
technical.
We're getting the juicy. All right. Do you want to take this one or should I?
Exemption. Oh, you probably moved this.
Oh, here we go. Okay, so...
Oh, wait, did I say that? Do you have that recorded? Like,
this is all recorded. So the homestead tax exemption is a law, I guess, in the state of Florida, where when you own your primary residence, your primary residence only.
And that means you have to live in it for 6 months at least.
Yeah, so like over 6 months, I guess, or whatever. So then you get a tax savings on that primary residence. And how they calculate that is they have a, I can't remember what they call it, exemption, right? And so what is it, 50,000 or 40,000?
I think it's 25,000, and then there's like an additional 25,000. I forget exactly why, but most people end up with a total of $50,000 total exception.
Well, I don't.
Unless you're a disabled.
Let's be careful about giving them the exact amount because we're clearly not certain of that. However, you get an exemption, which basically what they do is they just reduce the taxable value off the top by that amount.
Yes.
And then in addition to that, they have a cap on the amount that they can raise the taxable value every year. I think that's 3%.
I believe it.
Anyway, don't quote us on that. You can Google homestead tax exemption easily. And Palm Beach County has a great website called the Palm Beach County Property Appraiser, where they actually have a very detailed explanation of homestead exemptions and other tax things that you'd want to know, as well as tax calculators, but we won't go there. So at any rate, so they cap the amount that they can raise your taxable rate every year, which is the real benefit there, because when you own the home over a long period of time and the price has gone up, significantly over the course of decades, then your taxes are still being calculated on a much lower tax rate. Right. And you want to be careful of that. For people that are looking at houses, you'll see houses that have like really low taxes, and then a house like 2 doors down where the taxes will be significantly higher. And that can be very deceiving. The reason usually, in most cases, is because the house with the lower tax amount is homesteaded.
And it has been for a long time. So, you're going to have the price appreciation go like this, but because of the homestead exemption, the appreciation goes like that. So at some point, you get a big gap.
Right.
Yeah.
But anyway, back what I was trying to say though is that, so you'll see that disparity. That doesn't necessarily reflect what you're going to pay when you buy. And so you can be careful with that. And there won't be a large disparity between houses that are very close to each other commonly. It's because of the exemptions and stuff.
But if you do purchase a home and it becomes your primary residence, you do want to make sure to file for the exception, so you are taking advantage of.
Yes, in order to get it, you must file for it. That's a good point. I forgot to mention that.
Yes, that's important.
Yeah, so you file that by the end of the year, December 31st?
By March 1st, if you purchased it, or it became, you could have already owned it, but it was maybe a vacation home. If it became your primary residence by December 31st of the prior year.
All right, yeah. Okay.
All right, well done. Next.
Hostess.
Okay. Should I do an inspection?
Julie?
Do I have my buyer hat on or my seller hat on?
Let's say you have your buyer hat on.
Okay. We definitely recommend doing one because you never know, what could be there that is not easily perceivable, I guess would be the word. When you have your showing and when you're walking around, some things might be apparent, like, oh, that looks maybe a little old, or maybe that looks a little broken, but there might be other things that are not as apparent. So if you really want to know and get a better idea of what it is that you're purchasing, we definitely recommend that you have one. Yes.
Yeah, it's a good idea. Yeah, we highly recommend it. Do you have to have an inspection? There's no law or rule that says that you have to. Although some forms of insurance require certain types of inspections sometimes.
And wind mitigation.
Yeah, and the wind mitigation can be good in some instances because that insurance companies like to see that, and you'll save money on your insurance. So that can be a big factor. But there are things that us as realtors, we're not inspectors. I mean, we can visually see things and we'll point them out if we see them, but, we're not checking the roof, the plumbing, the electrical, all the windows and doors and, all the little details of the property, the air conditioning and
the outlets.
And the outlet, and everything else. So that's why you should do it, because you never really know what you're getting yourself into. Unless you feel comfortable taking on that risk. I guess that's up to you,
Yep.
Okay, hostess?
The fun fact for this day's video
would
be who named the White House?
Who named the White House?
Who named the White House?
Like,
officially.
I would
Did
guess.
we get clues? Was it a woman? I don't know.
Oh. Well, I was going to say George Washington.
No,
I don't know.
No. It was somebody's wife, I think. Yes? No?
I mean, it's a woman. I mean, that's a pretty solid guess.
Well, it could have been a friend. I'm just kidding.
Oof.
I'm just joking. I don't know.
You know things I don't even know. I mean, I would have guessed George Washington, but I have no idea. I guess no.
Adams. What is his name? Samuel Adams.
No, it was. We're doing presidential trivia now. You got me.
I'm gonna go ahead and say no.
So I'm not in the right track.
No.
All right.
It was a man, and it was a president.
Oh.
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 Do you know all your presidents?
Okay, so it wasn't Adams. It wasn't George Washington.
Thomas Jefferson?
Said that.
No.
Thomas Jefferson.
No.
His name starts with a T.
Teddy Roosevelt.
Yeah.
Oh!
You got it.
I win. See you next time. Bye.
Bye.